Hello and welcome to New Fast Food. Today we're going to talk about a major addition to the Little Caesars menu. It's a limited time edition, so it's not like it's going to be permanently on the menu or anything, but we're going to take a deep dive into it. I'm going to analyze everything from the price all the way down to how much healthier it may be to other Little Caesars pizzas. Okay, so Little Caesars already offers a normal crust, a thick crust, a stuffed crust, and in the past they've offered almost everything out there, from pretzel crust to bacon crust, just the whole gamut. The only thing they're pretty much missing is thin crust. Well, not anymore, because they're going to be coming out with a new Little Caesars Thin Crust Pizza this coming Monday, October 29th. All right, my initial thoughts, anytime I consider a thin crust pizza, is okay, it's going to be less carbs, right? It's thinner crust, it's going to be less carbs, hopefully less calories because of that. And it better be cheaper, right? I mean, you're basically getting less pizza. If you count the crust as part of the pizza, you're getting less crust, and in terms less pizza. So it better not cost more than other crusts that are available. All right. So and pretty much what I'm seeing here is somewhat of a mixed bag from Little Caesars. First of all, these are ExtraMostBestest Thin Crust pizzas. They're not just normal thin crust pizzas. These are considered ExtraMostBestest, which, for the uninformed, ExtraMostBestest to Little Caesars just means like extra toppings. There's a whole reason why they call it ExtraMostBestest, but in reality it just means extra toppings. And these thin crust ExtraMostBestest pizzas are priced exactly the same as a normal ExtraMostBestest pizza, $6. So normally a regular pizza is $5, $1 more gets you ExtraMostBestest, which is $6. These thin crust ExtraMostBestest pizzas are also $6. And before y'all go out and say, hey, ExtraMostBestest pizzas are $7 in my area, I know many parts of the country, Little Caesars charges at least an extra $1 for their pizzas. In my area, it's like that. A regular pizza is not $5, it's $5.99. So an ExtraMostBestest is $6.99. So in terms of this, typically Little Caesars honors the promotional price. So they're, even if they typically charge $1 more for their regular pizzas, these promotional pizzas like this thin crust, they would still charge just the advertised price, $6. So in my area, this thin crust ExtraMostBestest pizza is actually going to be $1 less than a normal ExtraMostBestest pizza. But if we just compare it to the normal price for an ExtraMostBestest pizza, $6, this is exactly the same as the normal price, okay? And before I weigh in on whether or not it makes sense for them to charge the same price for a pizza with less crust, I want to let you know that I have examined the nutrition facts to get a handle on how much toppings are actually on this thing. See, I really like these pizzas where the toppings go all the way to the edge, and this thin crust Little Caesars pizza is like that. And typically when that's the case, you end up getting more toppings, right? There's more space to fill on the top if you go all the way to the edge of the toppings. So you end up with more toppings on pizzas where they go all the way to the edge. And after looking over the nutrition facts, I can't say for sure because I'm not actually in the kitchen seeing what they're putting on these things, but it certainly appears that these thin crust ExtraMostBestest pizzas actually have more toppings than a normal ExtraMostBestest pizza. And I'm getting that from the fat content. So obviously there's got to be some fat there in the crust. And so you'd think that if you had less crust and the same toppings, that the fat content would go down. Well, actually on these thin crust ExtraMostBestest pizzas, the fat content is actually going up. So if there's less fat in the crust, there's got to be more fat coming from the toppings. So that's why I'm pretty confident when I say that these thin crust ExtraMostBestest pizzas have more toppings on them than a traditional ExtraMostBestest pizza. And that's great. That's actually what I'd want. I'm really happy to see that. So to get back to the price, remember this is all kind of leading back to the price. I'm okay with these thin crust pizzas being priced the same as their ExtraMostBestest counterpart, because even though you're getting less crust, you are getting more toppings. So I think that's a fair trade-off. Now, because you're getting more toppings, the calorie count isn't significantly lower on this thin crust pizza than it is Little Caesars normal pizzas. So in comparison, between an Extra Most Bestest pizza and a thin crust Extra Most Bestest pizza, you're only saving about 300 calories. And actually, this thin crust Extra Most Bestest pizza has virtually the same amount of calories as a normal, they call them classic pizzas at Little Caesars. Just a normal pepperoni pizza would have about the same amount of calories as the pepperoni thin crust pizza. So I'd like to try this when it comes out, but I can tell from that it's going to be dangerous. You know, with the thin crust, I'm not gonna feel as full as I'm eating it, so I'd be in real danger of eating the whole thing. So I know I really need to exercise some self-control when it comes to trying this. Okay. Now let's get into the actual type of thin crust that this is, because there's a couple of different thin crusts out there, right? It could be sort of the New York style that's sort of floppy and foldable, or it could be sort of the thin cracker-like crust. And this appears to be just that, the more of the cracker-like crust than a New York style thin crust, which is fine. You know, there's obviously a market out there for that. Domino's thin crust is pretty cracker-like, and you know they seem to have no problem selling pizzas over at Domino's. It's not my preference though. I prefer thin crust pizzas that are more of the floppy New York style pizzas. But you know, I'm willing to give this one a try. I've really fallen back in love with Little Caesars ever since they came back out with their deep dish pizzas. Again, on those, I really like the way the toppings go all the way to the edge, and I missed them. So I was so glad they brought those back. Okay, so this is the thin crust pizza at Little Caesars. It's going to be available for a limited time starting Monday, October 29th. So that's today's fast food news. Thank you so much for going over it with me. Leave your thoughts down below on what you think about this Little Caesars thin crust pizza. And I'd like to remind you that throughout the month of October, New Fast Food is raising awareness for breast cancer through the Pink in the Middle campaign. I'm going to leave links down below in the description to the Pink in the Middle donation page, along with the New Fast Food t-shirt shop, where you can check out the Pink in the Middle t-shirts, and all the profits from the Pink in the Middle t-shirts will go directly to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. Thank you very much again for watching today, and as always, you can watch more videos right now.